Hi colleagues, it's another beautiful day for making asphalt. It's also a great day to be talking about energy consumption, and in particular ISO 50001. Never heard of 50001? It's a specific energy system that ties in management, planning, implementation and continuous improvement of energy usage. What we need to know is how we consume energy, where we consume energy, and how efficient are we at using that energy. And by starting this journey to look at energy consumptions, it will empower us all to look for solutions of how we can reduce electricity and energy use and therefore reduce our CO2. This will help with Cemex's commitment to be a net zero CO2 producing company globally by 2050. In today's presentation, we're going to look at specifically mobile plant energy usage, and in this case, loading shovels. In this depot, we've got two different loading shovels with different manufacturers. So we're going to have a look at each to see what different features they have and how they differ, if indeed they do, in terms of energy consumption. Watch the driver now going into a stockpile. He's using control movement and power, therefore he's not spinning his wheel, using extra wear and consuming more energy.
When a loading shovel is fitted with a weigh loader, it's essential that the weighbridge operator communicates what weight the wagon needs on that day, depending on its tear, to be loaded. This ensures we don't waste any energy and overload the wagon such that it has to go on to a tipping operation, which could put people at risk. This Volvo has a facility where after a period of inactivity, it will automatically shut the engine down to save fuel, wear and CO2. But the operator has an option by flicking the accelerator to abort this. It's all down to energy usage. If you're not using the machine and it's on tick over, please shut the machine down to save fuel.
In this example, we have a Cat 966, and unlike the Volvo, it doesn't have an auto engine shutdown. So the control of what it does is down to you. If you pay for the fuel and the servicing costs, would you let it idle or would you shut it down and save your CO2 as well as your money? This bucket has been designed by Cat. Unfortunately, it has some upstand, and that does not allow the bucket to be filled fully, because when you crowd the bucket back, it spills onto the machine as a result of the design.
In the previous video, we saw the operator going into the stockpile too fast, coming to a juddering stop, which will create wear on the machine and ultimately reduce the life expectancy of the machine and create more energy usage. Maybe spilling material on the bottom of the ramp as well as the top. The bin may be overfilled, both at the front and the back, and ultimately the amount of time it took and the energy. Anything else you spotted that was bad practice?
We've come now to the other side of the coal feed bins, and you can see the spillage that's been created as a result of overloading. This now means we have a potential for wastage. That this material could not go back on its original stockpile. It might go in a waste pile, so we've wasted all that money of the product, but it's also wastage of energy, because now it needs somebody to come and clean it. Do they do it manually? Do they do it with a loading shovel, which will involve energy loss? We could all use a mini digger, which will involve cost and energy usage. All this can be prevented, and it's down to you. Don't overfill your bins. Further to the example of the dust that we've just seen spilled, if it continues to be a bad practice and we overfill in bins majority of the time, there's a trickle effect. Guards become bent, bolts become sheared, which we then need to employ fitters. More spillage means more man hours, more machinery, more energy wasted, and we're wasting people's time by spilling, cleaning, when all this can be avoided by correctly filling the bins in the first place. All this can be avoided in asphalt by doing it once, but doing it right.
The highest individual cost for loading are fuel and tires. With the right operating technique and correct bucket, you can keep these costs down while maintaining high production. There are 4 important things to think about for effective and safe work. 1. Make sure you have a high ground pressure on the front wheels to make work easier and boost productivity. 2. Adapt engine RPM to prevent the wheels from slipping. 3. See that the ground surface is always as level and clean as possible. A smooth and clean ground surface on the loading site makes work easier and boosts productivity. And 4. Always into the material with a machine running straight ahead. That way, all of the machine's power ends up behind the bucket. A straight machine also reduces stress and wear. Here are the filling basics. Slow down a short distance in front of the material. Lower the bucket to ground level. Throttle up and make sure you're using the first gear. Lift the bucket. Tilt back and reverse out. Let's look at it again. Lower the bucket to ground level. Throttle up and lift the bucket. When the bucket is lifted, the pressure increases on the front wheels. The machine gets good traction and can penetrate into the material without the wheels slipping. Throttle up and tilt back a little. Continue lifting and tilting back alternately. It's a good idea to nudge off any excess material so you don't spill when reversing out. The principle is the same regardless of material. This material is very hard, and to avoid coming to a standstill, ease off the accelerator pedal to reduce the force forward, and at the same time lift and tilt back while filling the bucket. Something that's good for you to know as an operator is that Volvo buckets are designed so that the top of the bucket is parallel with the bucket floor. This makes it possible to always see what angle the bucket is at from the operator's seat. When loading a vehicle, put the gear lever in position 2. Automatic downshifting should be activated. Boom suspension in gear-dependent position. In order for loading to be effective and safe, it's always the loader operator who determines where the hauler or truck should be parked. Position the machine with raised bucket where you want the truck or hauler to park for loading. Sound the horn when the vehicle is in the right position. Always load according to the haul equipment operator's instructions about weight and weight distribution. Work as close as possible to the vehicle to minimize the cycle distance. This gives faster cycle times and higher productivity without stress. Place the load centered on the dump body.